So guys, to do cabinetry and countertops is what this lesson is all about. First thing you're going to want to do is go to your floor plan, the top of main floor level. And then obviously you guys should know where your kitchen is and what your kitchen layout, the intent was for it in terms of cabinetry. We talked about when we were doing our initial room size developments, that we talked about base cabinets and various sizes of cabinets for different purposes. I'm not going to go through designing an entire kitchen for you. I'm going to show you how to locate base cabinets, and then I'm going to show you how to create your countertop for your kitchen itself. And the creation of the countertop would be the same method for creating countertops in the software as well for the bathroom, right? Remember that for the bathroom to be barrier-free accessible, right, one of the sinks can't have cabinetry below it. It has to be just a countertop like you see here in the school. If you go to our public bathrooms anywhere in Ontario, there'll be just countertops. There's not any cabinets underneath, okay? So what I would do first is I would go to the insert and going to go to my load Autodesk family like I've been doing for other elements that we've been adding like windows and doors. And again, when you get things popped up, you'll see a bunch of options here. I'm going to go to what's called casework. So casework is where you're going to find your cabinetry. And in this particular situation, I am just going to be concerned with base cabinets. So I can go to base cabinets, and then there's a whole bunch of different base cabinet types that you have available to choose from. So first thing I'm going to kind of start with is I know that I'm going to be placing a corner cabinet in my kitchen as part of my design. So if you have a corner cabinet in your design, we have a couple options here. You kind of have this larger corner unit base cabinet where it actually has a full door on the front. And then you have this type of cabinet scenario where it would have like almost like a bifolding type of door. And this would be a type of cabinet that would have a Lazy Susan in it. At my house, when I did my renovation, actually I have a corner cabinet like this. It actually has a sink in a corner, and this has like a full-size storage underneath. But I'm going to choose this one. And then to place that piece of cabinetry, I'm going to go to my architecture tab and go to component, and there's my base cabinet corner, right? So I'm just going to simply place it in my area right now, making sure, first of all, that obviously I want to put it up into this corner. So I'll just place it in there so that I can do a precise move on it. So I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to use this move command where it will allow me to pick this actual endpoint, and then I'm going to put it into this corner here to that endpoint. If I go to my 3D view now, I have now placed that corner cabinet in that in the kitchen area. Okay. You'll notice that if I click on this, you'll notice that it has an elevation from level of 3/4 of an inch. Make sure that that elevation from does read 3/4 of an inch when you place your cabinetry, because remember that we're working on our top of main floor level, which is said right here. If I don't have that 3/4 offset, then my base of my cabinet is going to be like sitting down inside my hardwood. So it's got to sit on top of the hardwood now. So make sure that you have that base elevation offset of 3/4 of an inch. Then what you'll do is you'll just go back to your top of main floor level, and then you're just going to go back to the insert tool and back to the load Autodesk family, and you're going to find another cabinet. Okay. So we've got a bunch of base cabinets, double doors. So I'm going to go with this one here because I need something for a sink cabinet. So this would represent what would be a sink cabinet versus something that has drawers. Obviously cannot have a sink in it because you'd not be able to close the drawers because there's all drains and piping below the sink. So I would just say, okay, I want to load this one. And you know what? While I'm in here, I'm just going to load another type of, here, I'll go with this one here. And I'll do one with some drawers here. Go back to my architecture tab, go to my component tool, and then this is my 5-drawer one here, 30-inch. Then I can go to my 36-inch one for my sink. And again, I'm just plopping these in here for now. Now that I put them in here, I'm believing, but I'm going to confirm. I'm just going to go to my view here just to see what my front of my cabinets are. So this is the front of the cabinet. So when I'm rotating things around to place these particular cabinets, I'll be able to do that. Now, I did not pick my sink cabinet, so I'm going to go back. I'm not going to worry about the sink cabinet right now. So these are all facing this way. So this one here, guys, again, I'll click on it. I'll hit my move command. I'll pick this corner and pick that corner. So now those two pieces of cabinet are together. This one here, what I'd have to do, I know that the drawers are on this side, so I'm going to use this rotate tool. And if I click straight up 90 degrees here, I can rotate this 90 degrees that way. And then I have the ability to then move my cabinetry over here if I want. And I'll do the same with this. I'll do a rotate, making sure that rotate line's at 90 right now. And then I can do a 90-degree rotate on that. And again, move things around the way I want it. If I go to my 3D view, now you can see my base cabinets have been placed, okay? Be careful, or maybe when you pick a bunch of cabinets, you notice how I have different color cabinets in my kitchen right now? Some of the cabinets you can actually modify the materials, and some of them that you add in are not modifiable. So you might want to do a little bit of like load a bunch of base cabinets and then throw them into your plan just so that you can see what they look like in terms of color cabinetry wise, and also look at if it's customizable. So if I click on this and go to edit type, okay, under finish, there's a drop down here, and it doesn't look like I have ability to change the materials and finishes on that. Where if I go and select this corner cabinet that I have and go to edit type, again, it doesn't look like I have any ability to change those. So you sometimes have to be careful. Unfortunately, in the preview, when you're selecting things and loading things, it does not give you a color look at what you're selecting. So once I have my cabinets in place, okay, there's a couple key things you have to know. You have to know what the height of your cabinets are, okay, by clicking on it and looking at the properties of that cabinetry. So I went in, for instance, and it even looks like this cabinet's sitting a little bit higher than what this one is. So if I go to the properties on this, I got 2'11" 3/4, where my corner cabinet, when I measured it, was 2'10.5". So I can change this to read 2'10.5", and we'll just see if it applies that change. So you'll see how it's dropped now. So have a good look at the cabinets and figure out the measurements on them, because you might have to do some adjustments before you do the next step. So again, I'm just going to change this to 10.5. And this last one, like I said, just doing a little bit of initial exploration of the various options available to you in terms of the cabinets, making sure you're all kind of picking cabinets from the same family. It's going to eliminate having to deal with the change in the colors and all that. Maybe you like the fact that there's some different variation in colors. So I now have the top of my cabinetry all consistent at 2'10.5" from the, and this is the height of it. And because it's sitting on top of a 3/4 inch hardwood, I actually have a distance from my level to the top of my cabinets of 2'11.25". Okay. The next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a countertop for these cabinets. One thing which I'm not going to do right now, but you obviously have a kitchen sink to go in, and depending on the kitchen sink, okay, you're going to have to figure out, and we can go back and change later, the size of the sink, because you'll eventually have to create a cutout in your countertop. I'll show you how we're going to do a cutout in the countertop when we do it, but Because if you don't, and then you place your kitchen sink into the countertop will go through the sink, right? Because the sink has a bowl to it, and you'll have a countertop going through the bowls, which is not obviously accurate. So what I'll do now is I want to create that countertop. So I'm going to go back to my top of main floor level, and I am going to go to the component tool, and on the little arrow drop down where it says component, there is a model in place option. So I'm going to model in place. I'm going to select casework, hit OK, and I don't care if, like, I'm just going to hit OK here. And then what I'm going to do is an extrusion. So this is very similar, obviously, to doing stuff in, right, the language is the same as an inventor, right? I'm going to go to extrusion. Now, extrusion start. This is why we had to do some figuring out of the height of our cabinet, and we had to add the 3/4 of an inch for the hardwood. So I had 210.5 for the height of my cabinetry, and I have to add 3/4, which is 2'11 1/4. So my extrusion start is going to be 2 foot 11.25 of an inch. My extrusion end, I have to add on to my start number what I want for the thickness of my actual countertop. Okay. Most, if it's a solid type, like a granite type countertop, those range from 1.5 to 1 3/4. Because I want to make my life a little bit easy here, I'm going to add 1 3/4, which is going to give me 12, 13, right? 13 inches if I add 1 3/4 to that. So that's going to give me a 3 foot 1. Okay. So that's going to create an 1 3/4 thick countertop on top of my cabinets. And then you obviously would have to pick a material. So I'm not going to go through, you know how to select and create custom materials, and you know how to look at different things. Again, you would type in marble or granite or type in countertops, and you'll have different appearances that are available to you. Pick what you want, right? And then I'm just going to sketch, right? So I'm going to use the line command, and I'm going to sketch now. Just going to go like this, back to the wall, or I can come across here if I want here. Sometimes you have to zoom in a little bit to have it select the endpoints that you want. Then you're going to come back to the wall here, over here. That's lining up with that corner. Hit my green check mark. I've created a countertop. If we go to my 3D view, there's a countertop on top of the cabinetry. Now, one thing I didn't go over is the fact that the front edge of a countertop is never flush with the front of the cabinetry, the base cabinet. There's always an overhang of about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. So when you're drawing that boundary, if you can do some offset values. Again, I can edit this, same with everything, just same as editing the floor boundary or I can edit this, right? Go back to my top of main floor. If I needed a cutout for the sink, I would simply, and again, you can put the sink in first so you know the precise size of it and use it to trace. But I could use the rectangle tool once my sink is in, and say I draw my opening for my sink around the sink itself. If I hit the green check mark, it now leaves an opening for the sink. So we can go back and forth and make all these changes by just selecting it, editing the extrusion. But again, if I wanted to move this out, right, again, I could just add 1 inch or whatever to this. Or I'm just going to say, I'm going to go 6 here. So I just put that little bit of an overhang, finish my model. And again, if I go to my 3D view, there's my countertop with a little bit of an overhang on the front edge, right? So that's how easy it is really to do a countertop and a custom countertop, depending on the lower cabinets that you end up using. It'd be the same, right? Like, right, putting a fridge in, Right, I go back to my top of main floor level, and maybe my fridge goes at the end of this cabinet here, and then maybe have a pantry cabinet on the opposite side of the fridge. So that's easy stuff to do. I'm just going to go to Insert, Load Autodesk Family, All Results. And I think fridges fall under specialty equipment. You even have CPU towers in here apparently. You have gas, you have cooktops. Then you have some fridges and stuff here. Freezer uprights, fridge double door, right? But we know that you have a 30-inch fridge, so you're just going to have to find something that works and place it into your work.